All right, it is by Apple time. It is 6:30, so we'll go ahead and reconvene to open session. Why don't we go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance? Let's see. Please, Alex, would you assist us with the pledge?
I absolutely will. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and report action from closed session. Actually, on item, we need to go back to item 2.1 on pupil personnel. It is a matter that we discussed in closed session, but we need to take action in open session to comply with the education code. Is there a motion on item 2.1?
I would like to make a motion to ratify an agreement stipulating the expulsion of RJUHSD student case number 2-22/23.
Seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. And I intentionally didn't ask you on this one because I didn't want you to vote on a fellow student. So, but I will come to you on items that we're voting on and ask your opinion on it. If you have an opinion, great. If you have questions, we've been through this drill before, I think. But anyway, if you have any questions on any item, speak up. If you have any thoughts, any strong feelings, say so. Okay? All right. Okay. As to item 3.3 on announcement of meeting protocols, most of you have been here before and you understand the drill. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the other report outs from closed session. Thank you, Pete. Sorry about that. As to items 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5, as to all of those items, the motion was made by Board Member Constant, seconded by Board Member Hall, to accept staff recommendation as to the public employee, the releases. The vote for all four items was 4-0 in the affirmative, all board members voting in the affirmative with Board Member Hirota absent. As to item 2.6, no action was taken and direction was given to legal counsel. Okay. Let's see. Okay, now, item 3, back to 3.3, meeting protocols. Most of you have been here before, and you know the drill, but there will be an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the board on any matter that is on the agenda or matters not on the agenda. We'll have you speak at the appropriate time, of course. If 0 to 9 members want to speak, you will have 3 minutes. If 10 members or more want to speak on an item, we'll drop that time down to 90 seconds. A complaint about a specific employee or employees of the district should be made to that employee's immediate supervisor or the principal as required by board policy and administrative regulation. And just as a reminder, this meeting is being recorded, both audio and video recorded, and we will be posting the video for all to see later, for those who want to. Okay, item 3.4, communications.
Yeah, we received from the Placer County Office of Education. They have completed their review and have approved our 22-23 LCAP and budget. So passing that along from the county.
Thank you. Okay, 3.5, committee reports. Do we have any committee reports?
Yes, we had a policy committee meeting. You are going to see a number of policies in the consent agenda. I think that's all I have to say about it.
Okay, and there will be some, when's the next policy committee meeting? 14th?
14th.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
And a finance facilities committee meeting tomorrow.
Yes, well, that's right. Yep, okay. 3.6, student board representative introductions. We just have one. Who do we have? Who do we have? There we go, Principal Richter.
Hello. Good evening, Board.
Introduce the tiger to us.
The tiger. Okay. I'd like to introduce Autumn Ostrom, and it's not by coincidence. Her last name rhymes with awesome. She is this year's ASB president. Thank you. Job with ASB. She's been involved with ASB This year was a little stressful because she's had a slightly higher rigorous academic load, so I have 2 AP courses, dual enrollment, sociology, data science, in addition to student government, both periods. Our tiger cage, which has been amazing. So Autumn is also active in cheerleading. In 8th grade, won a national title, was on the team that won a national title, and is coaching Junior Tigers cheer this year, in addition to being on the stunt team for Roosevelt High School. Fantastic student, won a double gold for academics. This is the part that I like the best. One of the things she's most excited about is being the president of the Tiger Pride Club. The Tiger Pride Club is a group of students. That's the kind of person we have here in Providence. I couldn't be more proud to have her representing Roosevelt High School.
Thank you, Dr. Rick.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And Autumn, as I mentioned before, again, any comments you have on any item that we're looking at, that we're talking about? If you have thoughts about it?
Thank you.
I've mentioned this all the time, but you literally are the reason why we're all here. Why all of us, we all exist because of you. And moving on, 3.7, public comment. We'll first hear from Deanna Ponsetti and then Karen Combest. Deanna.
I just you know, that's something that's a top priority. And I did bring this up to the principal and teacher at the school, but we have a campaign right now. And I think the intention was good, and we want to build excitement around homecoming. But the problem that I have with it is it's encouraging kids to post on social media for likes. And I know there's so much research out there that shows how harmful that is for kids this age. It increases like addictive behavior. It increases anxiety, depression, which puts them at greater risk of suicide. So I just feel like sometimes when things are meant with good intentions, we have to, as adults, kind of look at how can that be carried out. And I think that the social media piece and garnering excitement is great, and posting and sharing, but that was just kind of crossing a line, and I did bring it up. It was a funny day for me because today they also had suicide awareness at the same school. So I was surprised to get an email about that because I hadn't heard anything about it before. Coming from before, there's always been, at least from the middle school, there's always been a heads up. You can view the video, you can view the material, so you can have that conversation with your kid. And I'm that parent that I would not have my kid opt out, but I do want to know what's being covered so that I can have a conversation. We unfortunately have been affected by suicide by someone very close to us. So it's just kind of those conversations that I feel parents need to be involved in. So I just feel like there's a little bit of a communication error, room for improvement on communication. And I just want us to, make sure we're looking out for our kids. And again, I think both things were meant with good intentions, but I think there could have been better carry out. So thanks for letting me talk.
Thank you very much. Okay, next is Karen Combest and then Christina Munoz.
Hi there. My name is Karen Combest. I'm a parent of a senior at Oakmont, and I think some of you in this room are probably expecting me to get up here and rant, as I've done an email about that suicide awareness video, not mentioning the word parent a single time. Family one time, and trusted adult was described as a teacher or an administrator. But I'm not going to rant about that because I've already done that in email. I will share my personal opinion if anyone wants to go into detail about that. But when my daughter came home, I asked her about it, and she told me that she was watching TikTok, didn't pay attention to it, and didn't do the survey because, well, she just forgot. And I stopped and I realized, you know what? She's just fine. And I asked her, if you are experiencing any thoughts of self-harm or suicide, who are you going to talk to, Lauren? And she said, you, Mom. And I felt so much better for that. And I realized that the 4 years that you have her are really just a blip. I had her for 14 years before. I'm going to have her after. And for those of you who have kids in college or adults, you know that they don't go away. And so I know that my influence is much greater than yours, period. However, I do think while you have them, treat them with care. And remember, we are the parents, and everything about Roseville Joint is about community and parent and student engagement. Our own vision talks about it. I know the suicide awareness video was a part of the California Ed Code. Well, so are many things related to parents. Ed Code 49091, parent review of instructional materials 51100. Let me read. Involving parents and guardians of pupils in the education process. Collaboration efforts are required. Policy 6141. Curriculum development provides parents and guardians. Like, parents are all over your very own board policies, as well as the California Education Code. And I would just ask perhaps that you re-educate everyone in the district who has a role. And I know there was a site council meeting recently where there was comments that there's not enough of you parents making a big stink. Really, do we have to have like thousands of parents come? That's not in the Ed Code or the policies. It says any parent has a right to be engaged, even if that's just one or two. So I'd ask you all to remember that, please. We are the parents, and again, your influence is 4 years. Make it worthwhile, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Christina Munoz, and then last is Shemaine Phillips.
Hi, my name is Christina Munoz. I'm a parent of a West Park sophomore. There was no shame in raping a black woman, but there could be shame in loving one. This is a direct quote from the book Kindred by Olivia Butler. This book is currently in all high school libraries available to students in the district. This book was first introduced to me during a school site council meeting, seeking approval for book choice. With less than 24 hours to review the book and vote, I found pages that provided scenes of extreme violence. Attempted suicide on pages 387 to 388, suicide on pages 400 to 401, a stabbing on page 420, and an underlying theme of rape throughout the book, pages 266 and 418. And the N-word was used 56 times in this book. From the 12th grade book club list provided at the site council meeting, I continued to review the list of titles and found multiple patterns of suicide, violence, and sex were amongst the storylines of these books. What is the purpose of site council voting if students already have access to this junk? Then hearing from teachers and administrators that it's only optional reading as a justification does not take away the overall message of encouraging violent behavior or enticing suicide. 2 years from now, what will stop this book from being required reading if it has been approved by site council? If parents would be upset about it being required reading, why is it okay to let kids innocently choose books with these negative messages? No one knows what's in the books till they start reading it. Parents want to trust our teachers and schools with what they are asking our kids to read. Rape, suicide, violent themes does not build trust. Our schools need to do better. September is the month of suicide prevention for the district. This book, Kindred, does not deliver a message of prevention. It does quite the opposite. Having books normalize this behavior is beyond concerning and should not be allowed in any of the high school libraries, even as an option to children. Kindred needs to be removed from all the libraries within the district immediately and not an option for book choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Shemaine, I'm gonna have you hang on one second because I want to read something. I had a conversation, there is I think a significant misunderstanding about when books can be approved and used and what materials can be used. So I want to set the record straight. I've said it before, although not quite as explicit as what I'm about to read, but I think there is some misunderstanding about when books can be used, and so I want to go over this. The Education Code is clear regarding the issue of curriculum adoption. Section 60010H of the Education Code defines instructional materials in a very broad way. It says, and I quote, "Instructional materials means all materials that are designed for use by pupils and their teachers as a learning resource and help pupils to acquire facts, skills, and opinions or to develop cognitive processes." This is, again, straight out of the Ed Code. Instructional materials may be printed or non-printed, may include textbooks, technology-based materials, other educational materials, and tests. So it's a very broad definition of instructional materials. Education Code 60400 provides, and I quote, "The governing board of each school district maintaining one or more high schools shall adopt instructional materials for use in the high schools under its control. Accordingly, no instructional materials may be used in the classroom setting unless that material has been approved by the board." So I want to make that very clear. If it's not approved by the board, it is not to be used in the classroom. And our policy, I'm going to propose some recommended changes in our policy to make that very clear in the coming future. But this is the Education Code. There's no wiggle room there. That's the law.
We're going to touch on that. Quote, "Man is essentially evil. We are teaching people to behave," end quote. This was a quote from a teacher last night at a Granite-based school site council meeting made during a discussion of the supplemental English curriculum up for review. The list and approval form, which was comprised of over 150 items, was given to the site council just 5 days prior to their being asked to vote. Perhaps this was done by design to avoid dissent from parents. I don't know. Perhaps it was an oversight. But unless you have no kids, no commitments, or no life, there's no way anyone human could have gotten through those materials. I know this because it took me and 22 other parents the last 5 days to review the materials. We hardly got through it, and we have 7 pages of comments. Asking the school site council members to approve materials without proper review time is unreasonable and could have a detrimental impact on our kids. I'd ask the district to consider a more reasonable process. I can assure you that several of the items in the proposed English curriculum do not achieve the district vision nor Granite Bay mission of a positive learning community of high expectations that prepare all students for life, college, and career with high quality academic opportunities. I kind of mashed those together, but the gist was the same. The material was dark and negative, and it had an underlying theme. There were multiple books with low-level Lexile numbers, topics such as rape, murder, abortion, LGBTQ, gender ideology, drinking children's stolen blood, and more. It included divisive material around Marxism, oppression, and systemic racism. It included materials that were all but a manual for suicide. I can't imagine a student that is contemplating suicide sitting in a class learning about something like that. The teacher's response to that was, quote, "We live in this world and we have to live with difficult things." While I 100% do not disagree with that statement, it is not the school's job to teach my child about rape, murder, or abortion, or indoctrinate them with gender ideology, Marxism, and racism. There was a book that was pulled from ethnic studies district-wide. When I pointed that out, the response was, any campus in this district can use any item on a list once it's approved. Most of the items in this English supplemental list are already being taught. We all know this is a direct violation of Ed Code and district curriculum review process. 5 things became apparent to me last night. There was a lack of basic knowledge of the curriculum approval process district-wide. No one understands what SILT really does and the impact, or lack thereof, that they actually have on the curriculum review process. Several teachers are going through a few of the motions, but not really following the curriculum review process. Several teachers are more concerned with indoctrination over education, and they are not interested in preparing our kids to be college and career ready. Not once was academic rigor mentioned, improved literacy rates, nor grade level reading. And teachers believe that they have authority over what our children learn, not parents. There is some clear room for improvement that needs to be addressed in this district, and I hope when the English curriculum comes to the board, you guys will take the time to review it, because I can tell you that what we found and what was being proposed in some of the materials was absolutely dumbfounding. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's all the slips I have. Any other members of the public wish to address the board on a matter not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. All right, we got a motion approved by Board Member Constant. Is there a second? Second by Board Member Franz. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Student board members. Any thoughts on any item on the agenda? On the consent calendar? By the way, the consent calendar, we take one vote to approve all those items. Most items on the consent calendar are deemed to be like routine in nature and don't really need a lot of discussion. But if there's something that you wanted to talk about, like for example, frequently sometimes we'll get overnight field trips that are pulled. If you have a team that's on an overnight field trip, or you want to give a shout out to them now, you can do that, but don't have to. That's where you would. We do all of that sort of as a block. Other than that, we do items individually. Anything you want to pull and discuss, we can talk about it. If not, Barbara, please.
Yes, Mr. Constant?
Yep.
Ms. Franz,
Yes.
Ms. Hall,
Yes.
and Mr. Huber.
Yes. Okay, consent calendar approved. Information Matters, Roseville Secondary Education Association report. Do we have an RCA report? Nope. Okay.
Great report.
6.1, public hearing and adoption of resolution 2222 of assurance for fiscal year 2022-23 instructional materials.
Each fall, at a certain point of the school year, we need to certify that we have sufficient adopted textbooks and core curricular materials in the core subjects, and this is a federal requirement. Our staff have worked diligently alongside school site staff to ensure that our students had the materials, all the orders have been placed, the materials have been received by the sites. So we are comfortable bringing this forward this evening. It does require a hearing to be opened and closed, and then action by the board. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, we'll open a public hearing. Any member of the public wish to address the board on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and limit conversation among staff and the board. Board members, any questions, comments, thoughts? Board members, how do you feel about having all the textbook materials you need?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Would love that.
Thought that, figured that'd be your your feelings on the matter. Okay, if there's no other questions or comments about a motion. Board Member Hall moves to approve. Is there a second?
Go ahead.
I'll second.
Board Member Franz will second. Student board members, you guys a yes on this one? All right. All those in favor say aye. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Constant?
Yep.
Ms. Franz,
Yes.
Ms. Hall,
Yes.
and Mr. Huber.
Yes. Okay, 6.2, Resolution 2223, Notice of Withdrawal from SRIMG JPA Property and Liability Insurance Program. Is this also commonly referred to as SIG? Yes. Joe?
Thank you. Excuse me. I'll actually like to address 6.2 and 6.3 as they kind of go together. Well, the last 6 months I've been looking at potential changes to our property and liability insurance coverage. Through SIG, which we've been with for many years, they are our property and liability as well as our workers' compensation and health benefit coverage. But the only area that I'm really interested at this time is the property and liability insurance, as we are kind of outgrown them. We're one of the bigger districts in there. And after doing a lot of research, I found Northern California Relief Program is the one that I'm most interested in, where we could save about $600,000 a year and maintain current, or in a lot of ways better, insurance coverage. And so the first step in the process would be to give notice of our intent to withdraw, which has to be done by this December, and this would be effective next July. So I plan to go over My recommendation for the Northern California Relief Program with the Finance Committee tomorrow, and potentially bringing that to the upcoming board meeting for approval of moving with them. But this, what we have here today is the two resolutions. One's with SIG. The other is with what's called our excess liability program, which covers our excess coverage from essentially $5 million to $55 million coverage. And so through SIG, we're a member of SELF as our excess liability provider. So we'd be withdrawing for both of those programs and potentially going to this new program. So with that, I can answer any questions, but staff would recommend passing these two resolutions.
Okay. Any questions? Student board members or board members, questions?
This gives us the ability to start the process, but if for any reason something doesn't happen, you're not locked into it. Is that correct?
Correct.
The savings of $600,000.
Yeah, we'd be
Not a lot
going
of
to
incentives,
about
yeah.
$1.6 million is what we pay a year to about $1 million.
Beautiful. Just beautiful. Any other questions, comments, thoughts, student board members? Anything? And I keep forgetting on any of these items. Nobody has turned in a slip, but so I'm not calling on members of the public for it. But I assume members of the public don't have any concerns about us saving $600,000 on insurance. Joe, I am going to make a comment about it. I know it has been. This is partly a Herculean task on top of all the other Herculean tasks that you do, and this one was one that came about, in a maybe a partly a difficult way. But I just want to say thank you to you for chasing this down, for looking after it, and I mean that's. Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
it's
it.
something that we put a lot of effort into, and I wouldn't suggest this if it wasn't something I felt really good about. A lot of other really big districts are with this group, so I think it's going to be good in a lot of different ways. So I'm excited about it.
Excellent. So we have two items, 6.2 and 6.3. Does anybody want to make a motion on both of those?
Can we combine them in one?
Yeah.
We need separate. Let's do them together then. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2223 and 2224.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Then motion by board member Constance, seconded by board member France. A resolution. Barbara.
Sure, yes, Mr. Constant?
Don't forget our students.
Student, sorry. Yes, okay, thank you. Mr. Constant?
Say yes, one for each.
Oh. Ms. Franz?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
And Mr. Huber?
Absolutely yes. Okay. 6.4 HPE Nimble Network Storage Purchase.
Director of Technology, Tony Ham, if you have more technical questions, as this is a little bit outside of my expertise, but essentially this is our network storage appliance that we have at the district. The funding for this is Fund 25, which is the money we receive from developers when new homes are built. We budgeted about anywhere, a couple $100,000 a year to keep our infrastructure, all our technology infrastructure up to date. And so this was planned for and budgeted for to replace these appliances that last anywhere from about 5 to 8 years. And so we solicited vendors for quotes, and you can see the amounts listed there, but it's $215,375, and staff recommends approval of this purchase for our technology infrastructure.
Any questions, board members?
It's a third of our savings.
There you go. I brought savings, I spent it.
Just out of curiosity, why do we need two?
I know this answer, but he'll answer better.
Got it.
So nightly, those two servers sync. So if a train hits our data center, we still have all of our data, and we're able to recover.
Which our data center is close to the train.
It is very
tracks.
close, uncomfortably
Yeah,
close
that's,
to the
that's
train
not,
track.
no, that's not a hypothetical. That's really
That could happen, yeah.
yeah. A train probably wouldn't hit it, but
No.
there was a little missile that went up on one of those trains in like 70s, 80s. Well, you were cool then, weren't you?
That was good.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh, man. Okay. I'm
Before
gonna
you
pay
get
for
us into trouble, motion approved.
I'm gonna pay for that one later. Motion to approve, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved by Board Member Constant, seconded by Board Member Hall. Thoughts? Yes? You're in favor? Good? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries 4-0 with one board member absent. 6.5, Resolution 2225, authorization for certificated employee assignment for the 22-23 school year.
That's playing Little League at Richards Field when the mushroom cloud started to go up. in the
Were you
early
really?
70s. Yes, I was there. Yeah, it was pretty devastating. So the purpose of this item is to authorize Mr. Dolan's teaching assignment for this particular school year. Using that education code 44263, if you recall, that's the one where you can give a local assignment based on 18 additional semester units or 9 additional graduate units or advanced level units. Mr. Dolan has taught these particular classes in the past. The project Lead the Way, Civil Engineering, Introduction to Engineering, and Engineering Design and Development. But as we continue to go through this CalSAS audit and prepare for that, the county has told us that his introductory ITE credential may not be enough and the state may kick it back. So they suggested we go with the local authorization. He has a degree in engineering as well as 240 additional hours of training in Project Lead the Way. So we know that he's very highly qualified to teach these classes. So staff recommends the board adopt Resolution 2225.
Okay, board members, any questions, comments? Board member Constant, is there a second? Second by board member Hall. I will say this, I did notice when I was reading this one, I had to actually, do some math here. 240 hours over the summer is a lot of work. That's like full-time over the summer.
He didn't do it in one summer.
Oh, I thought it was in one summer.
He's
Oh, I'm
been-
giving
he's
him way
been-
too much credit.
yeah.
Okay, well, that's still a lot. 240 hours is a lot of time.
He's dedicated.
That's a lot of time. So I appreciate the dedication and the willingness to step up and to do it. So, okay, this is a resolution. Students, any thoughts before we do a roll call? Okay, Barbara.
Hey, Alex, would you like to vote?
Yes.
And Autumn?
Yes.
And Mr. Constant?
Yep.
Ms. Franz?
Yes.
Ms. Hall? And Mr. Huber?
Yes. Okay, next regularly scheduled board meeting is October 13th at 6:30 here at the district office. We've got a laundry list of pending agenda items, some of which we talked about today, which I won't read for you. They're there in the agenda. Board and staff comments. Why don't we start down here and then we'll work our way around and then we'll come around this way.
No additional from me tonight.
Just wanted to say thank you to all of the parents and family members who came out to Math Family Night and to our teachers who led the event. It was really well received by the folks who attended, and we're looking forward to offering future such evenings with a variety of access to curriculum and exploration. And we're planning to do it in the spring when we start up the new classes as well. We had a lot of 9th grade parents there that really enjoyed it. And just this week, we were doing our articulation with our feeder districts, our partner districts, and they mentioned that the parents who we share had brought it up to them as well, because we do a lot of math conversations between our districts. So just appreciate everyone for participating. And have been visiting English and English language development classes this month. It's been a lot of fun to see the great learning and the high expectations in the classrooms that our teachers are planning intentional lessons and our students are engaging with. And that's it for tonight.
Me.
I'll come back to you. Student board members, comments.
Well, first off, I wanted to thank you guys all for having me. I've had a great first experience, and I'm excited to come back. Just to give a little report on what Roseville's been doing, our school has been doing a great job with school spirit, in particular our Tiger Cage, which is our spirit section at football games. And I feel like it's really unified all grade levels at our school, and everybody's been super excited. And more negative news, we've lost around 150 students to our school, so we plan to have our what we call the high school on the hill, which is where we introduce like incoming freshmen to like our school and just an attempt to like show them what Roseville can offer them. Overall, our leadership team has been doing a really good job with organization and delegation of future activities like homecoming. I would give more insight on homecoming, but we honestly like have such a great team that it's all been delegated out and dealt with already. For example, like our parade, everybody's had that figured out. Our dance committee's already had that all figured out, and I feel like it's just been doing a great job. We also got a lot of insight from Granite Bay during Interleague, and we are planning to host that in December so that a bunch of leadership teams from all around the area can come in and give insight to each other. Another little bit of negative news, we did have the blood drive, but it did have a lot of people that signed up for it, but unfortunately got canceled last minute due to health issues of the people that were supposed to come take the blood. And this week we're just planning for Think Pink Week, which is our breast cancer awareness week, where we are going to have a tribute for those who have lost their lives to cancer. Like people who have loved ones who have lost their lives can come make a tribute to them around the school. So that's what's been going on. Thank you.
So also just thank you guys for having me again. It's been awesome to be back. So just talking about what's been going on around campus. We've just kind of started planning homecoming. So our royalty nominations have finished. Our class officers are kind of making their float plans. Spirit Week and the rally is being worked on right now, and then for halftime we're working on like getting cars for all that and stuff like that. Our blood drive is next week on Friday. So right now we're still like kind of getting people for signups. I'm just kind of telling people, there's a desperate need for blood, so please sign up if you can. Ripple Effect Week has actually been this week, and that's something that I've been kind of working on a lot. And so it's really just a week all about unity and culture and inclusion and stuff like that, and just kind of improving culture. So on Monday we had kind of like a class discussion and a couple like intro videos about what it means to leave a ripple. On Tuesday we gave kids chalk and we asked them to kind of like write positive messages all around campus. So if you guys visited campus, maybe on Tuesday you would have seen that, but the rain on Wednesday kind of washed it all away. But that's okay. And
I
then
saw
on
a bunch from today when I was there.
yeah. Oh, well, there we go.
They're still
You
there.
did. Okay.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
doing it again.
Yeah. And so then on Wednesday we had a kind of like a stand-up if activity, so stand up if this applies to you, and then also kind of student section etiquette to kind of teach kids how they should act when maybe someone gets injured on the field or something like that. Thursday it was all about building positive habits, like holding the door open for someone, and then Friday that's the activity that I think has the most impact. Recently, someone in our community has passed away, and so what we wanted to do is make a poster for their family. Where kids all in Granite Bay could kind of sign it and write positive messages and almost just like kind of show our support for their family. So that's what we're doing tomorrow. And then also, like Autumn said, we had Interleague where just tons of student government kids all came to one campus. Granite Bay hosted, and we just kind of shared our ideas and thoughts about what was going on. Club Rush we had, and that was just a ton of clubs showing off kind of like what they're doing. Like there was an International Cooking Club, Taekwondo Club, stuff like that. I broke a wooden board in the quad, so that was fun. And then we have concert in the quad tomorrow, which is just a bunch of our peers kind of performing in bands and just kind of showing off their musical talents. And then we'll have food trucks and art and stuff like that. So you guys should come down if you can. And then also we have SG Corner, which is every week I kind of go on the bulletin and I help keep students informed and talk about what's going on. So that's all that's been happening, but I think the year is going well. So yeah.
I want to give a shout out for the math family night. I was able to attend, and I appreciate all the work that went into that because it's clearly well thought out with the teachers and the principal and the trainers, and all the parents were given a lesson to do. And I think most of us were stretched a little, but the good part was the whole point of it was to help our kids learn how to think. And I think that's a nice approach with math instead of just the rote memorization of how you solve problems. So I know my kids need a little bit more perseverance. I think all kids do. So I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. And if you can attend in the spring, you should.
Nothing tonight, just happy to be here.
Excellent.
Happy to be here too. Thanks again to Dr. Moore for going on school tours with Scott and myself. Oh, sorry, microphone.
For the hundreds and hundreds of people watching.
Right. Glued to their screens right now. But no, it's been great getting to tour the different English classes. And after you left today, Scott, we got to go into speech and debate. So, it was so, it's just great, like seeing the students in action and practicing and applying what they're learning and seeing the teachers doing what they love. So that's been great. I need to get to West Park, Oakmont, and what's my last one I haven't been to? Antelope. So I still need to hit a few more. And then if anyone's interested, this is a plug for Roseville High, the Boots program. So I did the panel this week with some of the student government committees, media and marketing, but we need parent volunteers. You don't even have to necessarily have a Roseville High School student, but if you are a business owner and you have a certain skill set, you sit on a panel and the student government students give their presentation of their committees and we score them and ask them questions. And I thought this was the sweetest thing. We asked them, what would be your biggest need to the marketing team? Because they do all the beautiful posters, like the big ones we saw in Granite Bay. They want something other than just blue tape. They would like pink tape and red tape. And so we put that request in to Mr. Maddox. I figured they were going to say like a laminating machine or something a little bit more elaborate. They just want some multicolored tape. So I know, they were great though. They did a great presentation, but they do need approximately 6 or 8 more adults. And it's just 3 times. You commit to 3 times meeting with the students and hearing their presentation, and they have to dress up and shake your hand, and I love that. So anybody that wants to join Boots, let me know, or they can probably talk to you. Okay.
Just recognize, just as you listen to all the comments going around and all the activities happening on our campuses, and just from athletics to student government, and our performing arts are ramping up, and it's homecoming season, principals, I know, for the next few weeks. So I would encourage everyone to get out to the homecoming events and festivities if possible. And it's just beautiful to hear all the activity going on. Had a chance to got Wood Creek Antelope volleyball, watching water polo, and just to see all the activity, the hustle and bustle, and the campus is full of cars. Hub of the community, right, Pete? And it's just great to hear it and see it all. So appreciate everyone's involvement in that.
Yeah, I will echo that. It is great to see the hustle and bustle of campuses. I was with Heidi and Principal Sloan and some others doing the Granite Bay visit today, and I have to tell you, April, I was really impressed with that software. What's it called? DigiCoach. That was really, I didn't know about it. That's really cool, and that's anyway, amazing. Anyway, Dr. Moore, nice work on that. And it was, and I apologize. I had to run out because the superintendent put another item on my calendar for an appointment, and so I don't want to say it was a bigger name, but it was something that had to be done. But anyway, sorry. I have been to a couple of football games. I went to a Roseville game. Been to a couple of events on campus. I've been to a West Park game, and one of the things I try to do is when I go to these games, I try to go to the officials and thank them for being there. And the reason why is we are really short on officials. Games get canceled because we don't have enough officials sometimes, and it's kind of a pain. And they don't get they get all of this the yells and the screams when a play goes wrong, or when it's perceived to have gone wrong, right? Or but they never get any of the pats on the back when they make the calls right. So I always try to thank them. And for any of you that go to the games and stand on the sidelines, try and do the same. And it'd be nice to try if we can get more people into that. I don't want to call it profession, but into that avocation, because man, we sure need a lot of referees in every sport. I mean, they're so. Anyway, I was reminded where we were a year ago and where we were 2 years ago, and all I'm going to say on that is I really like where we're at today versus where we were before. And like Pete, I'm glad to be here. Thank you. Meeting adjourned until October 13th. Thanks again.